Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 12 and we are going to present about Kingdom Animalia Phylum Annelida. Phylum Annelida is a very broad phylum belonging to the Kingdom Animalia. To know what exactly annelids are, we have to know the characteristics. Firstly, annelids have bilaterally symmetrical and vermiform bodies. Bilateral symmetry is the division of the animal through a vertical plane, resulting in two mirror image, right and left halves. You can imagine butterfly, crab, or even human ourselves. The right and left sides are just the same. Vermiform is resembling the form of a worm. Secondly, body of annelids has more than two cell layers, tissues, and organs. The body cavity of annelids also is a true coelom, often divided by internal septa. Body cavity is a fluid-filled space inside the body that holds and protects internal organs, while coelom is the main body cavity in most animals. Next, the body of annelids possesses a true gut with mouth and anus, meaning annelids have intestines all throughout their bodies. Annelids also possesses three separate sections such as a prostomium, a trunk, and a pygidium. Prostomium is the anterior part, the trunk is the body segments, while pygidium is the end of segments that contain anus. Alice also has a nervous system with an anterior nerve ring, ganglia, and a ventral nerve cord. Ganglia is a structure containing a number of nerve cell bodies. Alice also has a true closed circulatory system. It also has no true respiratory organs. The gas exchange generally takes place through the skin, but it may occur through gill filaments in some polychaetae or through the rectum of aquatic oligochaetae. The reproduction of annelids normally sexual and gonochoristic or hermaphroditic. Gonochorism is having just one or at least two distinct sexes, while hermaphroditism is the condition of having both male and female reproductive organs. Annelids feed and eat a wide range of material. Annelids eat dirt for the most part. They also eat some in the soil such as bacteria, fungi, and protozoa. And they also live in most environments. Next, where does these annelids live? There are two types of environments they can live. First, aquatic, and second, terrestrial. Aquatic such as marine and in freshwater. Freshwater is any naturally occurring water except seawater and brackish water. Freshwater is water that have low concentration of dissolved salts and total dissolved solids, while marine is waters that have a high salt content. Second, terrestrial such as damp soil.
Few examples of phylum annelids is Alita succinea. Alita succinea is classified in class Polychaeta, order Phylodochida, family Annelida, genus Alita, and species Succinea. Alita succinea, or known as pileworm, is an aquatic sedentary polychaeta annelid that can grow up to 19 cm long. It can be found in open seas but appears to be able to tolerate a range of salinities and is common in estuaries and ports. The other example of phylum Annelida is Glycera species. Glycera species is classified in class Polychaeta, order Phylodochida, family Glyceridae, and genus Glycera. Glycera, or known as bloodworm, is a larger genus that can grow up to 35 centimeters in length. Glycera can be found on the bottom of shallow marine waters. The next example of phylum Annelida is earthworm. Earthworms are classified in class Clitellata, subclass Oligochaeta, and order Opisthophora. Earthworm is a terrestrial invertebrate. They can be found anywhere there is moist soil and dead plant material. Earthworms are most abundant in rainiferous areas, but can be found in many habitats on land and in freshwater. All earthworm species need moist soil conditions to survive.
Next, moving on to the use and applications of annelids. Firstly, meet the Lumbricus terrestrial. Lumbricus terrestrial is a large earthworm, or usually it is called as the night crawlers. They are cultivated and sold as bait for freshwater fishes and as humus builders in garden. This video will show you where to find and how to rig the night crawlers to use it as a bait. According to this video, the best time to catch the night crawlers is after rain and the weather is above 50 degrees. Because as you already know, these worms live in terrestrial area, which include damp soil. To catch a worm, you have to know that these worms sense vibrations. Therefore, you don't want to run around and make noise because these worms are fast too. You also have to be quick, and obviously you can't be afraid of worm to catch it. You also have to make sure that you get a firm and nice grip so that when you pull the worms out of the soil, they don't slide through your fingers. If you don't want to use these large earthworms as a bait, you can also just throw it on your garden. The man is showing you how to rig the night crawlers to be used as a bait. First of all, you have to prepare the rig, swivel, hook, split shots, bobber, and the most important thing, which is the night crawlers. The first step is to attach the hook on the snap swivel. Make sure your snap is open and just grab your hook and put the loop into the swivel and snap it close. Make sure it is closed tightly so that your hook is not going anywhere. Next step, grab yourself 2 split shots and put it right above the swivel. Basically, the split shots and the swivel act as a stopper as well, and it doesn't knock your worm off your line. Next, grab a little bobber and tie it on about a foot or two above your line according to the depth of the seawater. Lastly, get your worm and just thread it right on the hook and just pull it all the way up around the hook. Twist them and you are done. Secondly, meet the tube effects. Scientists study aquatic annelids to monitor the oxygen content, salinity, and pollution levels in fresh and marine water. It is also collected and sold as food for tropical fish. Tropical fish are generally those fish found in aquatic tropical environments around the world, including both freshwater and saltwater species. Fish keepers often keep tropical fish in freshwater and saltwater aquarium. This video will show you how to keep and maintain the tubifax worms and use it to feed tropical fishes. First thing first, you have to put the tubifax in a continuous low water flow and make sure to put them in a container of clean water because they will need it to survive. As you can see, the fish keeper has attached tubing in the upper area of the container so that the water will flow down to the next container and down to the bathroom drain. You must not crowd the worms in one container because they could die due to the overcrowded. Therefore, you have to prepare more containers. Next, you can easily collect the worms using just a fork because the worms attach with the head parts to each other and form a ball-like figure. Put the worms in the catsup dispenser and shake the bottle so that the worms will be separated from each other. This way, it will be easier for the fishes to consume it. The second way to preserve the worms is by using resealable plastics, DIY funnel, and a fork. Basically, you just have to collect the tubifax and put it into the resealable plastics using a fork and the DIY funnel. Make sure to just put a right amount of worms per feeding. Then, just reseal the plastics and there you go, a week of groceries for your tropical fishes. You can put them all inside a container and finally just freeze the worms. Next time, you can use the frozen worms to feed your fishes by placing it in water for a few minutes to defrost. After that, you can start feeding your fishes. Thirdly, meet the Nereididae. Nereididae are ragworms which are commercially important as food sources for aquaculture, and there have been proposals to farm them in order to reduce overfishing of their natural populations. This video will show you where to find and how to dig for the ragworms. According to the video, these worms inhabit much the same type of ground in sheltered harbors and estuaries and favor broken, muddy and sandy ground. They can also be found close to mussel beds, and in some cases, the king rag will live in very rocky ground where it is relatively protected and where it can grow to a very large size. Next one, meet the leeches. More recently, leeches have been used to assist in microsurgery, and their saliva has provided anti-inflammatory compounds and several important anticoagulants, one of which also prevents tumors from spreading. Anticoagulants, or commonly known as blood thinners, are chemical substances that prevent or reduce coagulation of blood and prolonging the clotting time. Leeches are very useful in surgery because they have the ability to remove blood. To use the leech for a treatment, you must first weigh the leech to know how much blood it can remove. Then, just slowly put it on your arm or affected area which have blood clotting. The moment it attached to your skin by its head end, its jaws and teeth would have made a hole. Here, you can see how the leech crippled jawed mouth is able to cut through a membrane, and that is what it is doing to the skin. Once it has made a hole, it can start feeding on the blood. It sucks by contracting its muscles in a rhythmic movement called peristalsis. Its digestive tract, visible here in red, can expand to hold huge quantities of blood, and its saliva contains proteins that help the blood keep flowing. At the same time, it will inject some fairly ingenious things, and it is probably the most important things which will prevent it clotting and so it can feed more efficiently. And it is the most potent anticoagulant known to human. Lastly, meet the earthworm. Burrowing annelids like the earthworm play an important role in helping organic matter to decompose. Earthworms eat dead plants and animals. When they eat, they also take in soil and tiny pebbles. Earthworms take in nutrients from microorganisms in the material they ingest. They then excrete wastes in form of cusses. Cusses are rich in nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash. In addition to breaking down organic materials and adding nutrients to the soil, earthworms also help loosen the soil so air can circulate. These help plants to grow. The earthworms burrow beneath the ground, consuming the decomposing organic matter present in soil, such as roots, leaves, sand grains, and microorganisms. As whatever they have eaten passes through their digestive system, vital minerals and nutrients are added, and when that matter comes out as excreta, it is rich in minerals, thus enriching the soil. The burrows that earthworms create act as a ducts that water and oxygen can pass through, helping to keep soil moist and aerated. This is vital for good growth of plants, allowing roots to grow and develop. The earthworms will tunnel deeply in the soil and bring subsoil closer to the surface and mix it with the topsoil. Slime, which is the secretion of the earthworms, contains nitrogen that is important for plants.
Now we will continue with our study of classification of phylum Annelida in taxonomy chart. Phylum Annelida is classified under the kingdom Animalia, and the subkingdom is Eumatozoa. Phylum Annelida is divided into three classes. The first one is Polychaeta, the second one is Clitellata, and the third one is Macarida. For Polychaeta, poly means many and chaeta means bristles or hair. The body is elongated and divided into segments. They are found in the marine environment and they are hermaphrodites. The example for Polychaeta is Nereis and Silis. Polychaeta contains some subclasses and orders. For the subclass, there are Palpata, Erantia, Incertacedes, Solecida, Ichiora, and Sedentaria. And the order is Aciculata, Canalipalpata, Amphinomida, Phylodocida, Unicida, and Echiuroidea. Okay, the next class is Clitellata. Clitellata contains two subclasses. The first one is Oligochaeta and the second one is Hirudinea. For the first subclass, which is Oligochaeta, oligo means few and chaeta means hair. Oligochaeta includes earthworms. They are mostly freshwater and terrestrial organisms. The body is segmented metamerically, and the example for the Oligochaeta is Ferretima and Tubifax. For the second subclass, which is Hirudinia. Hirudo means a leech. They are most commonly found in freshwater. Some are marine, terrestrial, and parasitic. The body is segmented, and they are also hermaphrodites. An example for the Hirudinia is Hirudinaria. Litellata also contains some of others, which is Haplotacida, Lumbriculida, Moniligasirida, Rhincobdelida, Branchiobdelida, and Hirudinida. And the last class is Macaridia, which contains 4 orders such as Turrilipadida, Hercolipadida, Tomotida, and Sachitida.
Quran verses that we can relate to our topic today is Surah An-Nur verse of 45. And Allah has created from water every living creature. Some of them crawl on their bellies, some walk on 2 legs, and some walk on 4. Allah creates whatever He wills. Surely, Allah is most capable of everything. In this verse, we could see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already stated in Al-Quranul Kareem that He created whatever He wished. It is also stated that there are many types of animals and creatures in this world. Annelids was one of them, which is crawl on their bellies. Next, Surah Ghafir, verse of 80. Also, you find in them other benefits, and by means of them, you may reach destinations you desire, and you are carried upon some of them and upon ships. Actually, in this verse, many ulama say that the livestock stated is camel, but we can also relate our species today, annelids, to this verse. As we can see in the slide, there are a lot of benefits of annelids to humans, such as in medicals, or as bait, or even as an indicator of water pollution. Each creatures in this world have been created to benefit each other.